Hi, writers. Welcome back to Comp 1. We are in week 10 and we are forgetting, scrapping, cutting the synthesis number 2 paper, and we are moving forward with our research project. So let's get started. Before we do anything, I want to try to frame or maybe reframe our conception of what it means to research, what it means to be researchers. So rather than thinking about research in the context of a specific assignment, although we are completing a specific assignment, I would like for you to keep this broader idea of research in mind, the idea of research as formalized curiosity, poking and prodding with a purpose. So I would like for you to maintain some sense of interest or enthusiasm about questions you have around your organization. So think about ways that you believe your organization can grow or adapt in response to social distancing as part of engaging with the prompt. Now, as we would do in face-to-face class, I want to start off by laying some learning objectives out for you. So by the end of the session, which for us is going to be the full week since we are no longer meeting once a week, I would like for you to be able to A, have an organization picked out. Don't even have that one on here. B, develop a research question. I want you to identify keywords for research. I want you to understand the difference between popular and academic sources, navigate the Butler Library databases to find those sources, recognize the basic components of an academic article, and set up a Noodle Tools account to help you keep track of your sources. Eventually, this will scroll. All right. So our research process, to sort of zoom out and look at it from a macro level instead of the micro level we'll look at later in the presentation, is going to consist of 3 major steps. So the first will start today, which is information gathering. So identifying an organization of interest to you, narrowing your focus by developing a research question, identifying keywords, and locating different kinds of sources. Next, in the next couple of weeks, we'll move into processing. So making sense of and synthesizing your different sources, refining your ideas about your organization based on what you've read so far. And then we'll move in to the application stage. So actually outlining, drafting, revising, and submitting the final paper in the last couple of weeks. So I'm not going to getting the hang of this. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to play these videos for you. I'll let you go back through the presentation, but I just want to talk about a couple key ideas for each of these now. So, conducting background research goes hand in hand with developing a good research question. So you should think about what you already know about your organization, maybe what problems or opportunities exist within your organization. So if you're looking at a restaurant or if you're looking at your college, for instance, then how do you see them already? How do you see those organizations already responding to social distancing and COVID-19? And what larger impact do you think those will have? And I'll walk you through a couple examples here in a minute. You could also think about who the primary audience is for your project. So are you trying to primarily reach other servers or wait staff? If you are someone in the food industry, are you going to need to explain certain key terms like front of house, back of house for restaurant workers? Are there any other terms or ideas that people may not be aware of going into this? You may want to define what social distancing is, for instance, or what a habit is, and that's where Doohit can come in handy. Okay, I'm going to have to move myself all around during this presentation. Okay, so the next step is developing a research question. Definitely do go back and watch this video for specific steps and things to keep in mind, but I'm going to walk you through a quick example. So if the organization I chose to focus on for the research paper was colleges or other institutions of higher learning, my example research question might look something like this to respond to the prompt. How will wide-scale social distancing measures change teaching habits at colleges? So there are a few key components here, right? So I'm acknowledging that there's a specific cause and effect relationship that I want to look into. So social distancing and teaching habits. I'm acknowledging a specific subset of habits within the organization. So I'm not looking at administration habits or finance habits or learning habits. I'm looking at how people teach and what habits exist around that. So for background information, I might need to know how many faculty are present at my college. I might need to know what the basic sort of tenets of teaching are within a college. So, what are the best practices? What habits should I already have as an instructor at this point, and how might those habits be changed by moving fully online like we are this semester? So, I will have you walk through this in the discussion board this week. So, you'll give a few potential research questions and a few potential keywords based on those questions that will help everyone to give you some initial feedback. So, let's move on to selecting and using keywords. Again, this video will be very helpful for you, but really quickly with my example from the previous slide, if I want to look at habits around teaching at colleges, post-social distancing, so once the pandemic has been quelled and we are moving back into sort of communication with one another and community with one another, I might look at a few specific keywords. So as this video will mention, you want to take out words that don't really add anything unique or specific to your question. So I might look at social distancing, but I would say to use that for the popular articles. So when you're just starting off on Google, maybe social distancing would work and you would keep those terms together. But there's probably not going to be much available on social distancing regarding COVID-19 on the databases at this point because the peer review process takes so long. So this is a good thing to keep in mind if you're looking at elements of your paper that would benefit from popular sources versus scholarly sources. If you need really up-to-date current information, so something is changing by the day, as it is with the pandemic, you're going to want popular sources for those things, so current up-to-date news articles. If you are looking at larger historical trends or contexts, so best practices in the teaching field, for instance, that's where academic scholarship can help you. So potential keywords I might use are distance. So online learning is sometimes referred to as distance learning, but I have the background information to know that. And then college, obviously, I want to make sure I'm not getting information about online teaching in the K through 12 system or the homeschool system. And then I obviously want to clarify that I'm thinking about teaching specifically. So really quickly, let's go on and talk a little bit about Boolean operators. Again, this video will be particularly helpful, but we're basically looking at how you use words like and, not, or but to either narrow or broaden your search terms. And we also want to think about how you can use quotation marks in order to keep certain terms together. So I've got a couple examples here on the screen. So this first example is a Google search. So I'm looking for popular sources around social distancing, online learning, and college. Notice I haven't put habits in yet because I think that's getting a bit too specific at this point, but if I were finding way too much, I might want to use something like habits to narrow it. So I've put quotation marks around social distancing to connote that I want to put those words together and keep them together in the article. So I don't want to find an article that has social somewhere but distancing way further away in the article. I want them right close together. The and is going to narrow our search results. So it's going to give me only things that feature both social distancing and college and online in the same place. So notice I've got a few already, and we've got a ton of search results already, as you can see there, but you'll probably want to look at either news or videos for the popular sources right now. I've also got a screen capture of what this looks like on ProQuest, so on one of our academic databases. And you'll notice that I have some of the same keywords, so college and online and teaching. If you see the graduation cap on ProQuest, that means it's a scholarly journal article, and we've got a preview of some filters. I have a video later in this presentation where I walk you through the screen step by step, so don't focus too much on that at this point. Okay. And this is the video. I'm not going to play this here because I'm not quite sure that I have this program down enough to make that work and still talk to you. But notice, I'll just move myself around here. Notice that I am talking you through how to access the databases and how to use them using your particular keywords. And my daughter makes a cameo in this one. So yay, infancy. Maybe. Okay. Again, another quick reference video, so I will just walk you through some basic ideas here. So this video walks you through this sort of continuum between popular sources and scholarly sources, and that's important to think of. We've talked a lot about binary thinking, so either or, black, white, good, evil. We want to stay away from those things, especially as we move into our research. So there is a time and a place for popular sources, and there is a time and a place for scholarly sources. I will ask you to use a range of both in the research paper so that I know you've got a comprehensive idea about your topic. So the main things you'll want to look at, and these are highlighted in the video, are the idea of who's authored the source, what the sort of intended goal or audience is for the source, and the sort of mechanics of the source once you get into it. So I won't talk too much about that since we have the video here. Okay, another video quickly on engaging with scholarly sources. This contains some of the same information that I walk you through in the database video, but it's good to have, and this goes in a bit more depth and slows you down a bit more. So I would definitely suggest pausing to watch this or going back to the presentation and watching it on your own. I will include this video version so you have somewhat of a lecture, but I'll also include the PowerPoint itself so you can move through it at your leisure and see all of the information. All right. Here is a video on setting up your Noodle Tools account. I have also included in this week's module a PDF version of a quick guide that walks you through step-by-step for Butler students how to get into your Noodle Tools account. This video is going to be helpful once you get signed in and you've got your account information. It will help you create a new project so you can keep all of your sources together. Another Noodle Tools video, this one helping you to quick cite from a database. In the how to access and use the database video, I show you how the quick cite works within the databases, but I didn't show you how to export it partially because we have this video here. Okay, let me go back. And then this last video is very helpful in terms of what to include in an annotated bibliography. So if you looked at that assignment and you weren't quite sure still, I think this video will help you. Notice this instructor who made this video also uses the language of essential questions, so that should help. That should help you since I use that language a lot. And this assignment is very similar to ours, so while I will explain the annotated bibliography in our context a bit more, I think this is a helpful video to just get a sense of the basic structure of the assignment and how you can use Noodle Tools to help you streamline that assignment. Okay, and then lastly, let me make myself very small here. Lastly, I just wanted to make sure you had some sort of debriefing. So the key takeaways for this week, once you've gone through all the assignments, you should be able to conduct background research about your organization. You should have a couple of research questions and keywords that you can pull from for the databases, and we'll peer review these via discussion boards later on. You should be able to distinguish between different kinds of sources, engage with those sources confidently, and use Noodle Tools to help you create your assignments and keep track of your sources. You should also have a basic understanding of what I'm expecting from you for the research paper and the annotated bibliography assignment. I apologize for my voice here. I have had some sort of monstrous illness the last couple of days. So thank you for sticking it out. And if you have questions, I'm going to be holding virtual office hours by appointment, and then I'm also trying to set up a recurring sort of waiting room for people a few hours every afternoon, or most afternoons at least, so that I can answer your questions. But if I get a lot of similar questions, I'll try to put out an announcement video walking you through those things too. All right. Have a good week. I will be back with another presentation next week. Please let me know if it's helpful to have this style, or if you just want all text, we can do whatever we need to make this learning experience work for you. Have a good week. Stay safe. Stay inside as much as possible. Stay healthy.